So I wanted to talk Dead by Daylight. Now, being a killer main who also does dabble in Survivor, I've stated this before. Being a killer, I've adjusted my gameplay just a tiny bit, and it's working. Now, I've adjusted it. When I used to get into the game, the things I still do the same right now. I'll get into the game, I'll have a quick browse. Okay, what's the best free gen? Still do that. But what's changed? Well, what's changed is, in the one spot was gen defense. I'd always try and control the gens. But now, that gen pressure has actually gone into the number 2 spot. And I've replaced gen pressure with a method of creating dead zones. So how does this work, and what does dead zones mean? If you play Dead by Daylight and you play Killer, you're going to know what dead zones are. If you play Survivor, you're going to know what dead zones are. But for people that may be new to Dead by Daylight or just got Dead by Daylight, they'll be like, well, what's dead zones? Well, let me explain. Survivor drops a pallet at a loop where you can't physically really hit them. It's known as a safe loop. You break that pallet, it's no longer safe. You break pallets in all that one area of the map, it becomes a dead zone. That's where a dead zone is, and that's what I'm trying to create. But at the same time, without not sacrificing too much of gen pressure, you need gen pressure. But the reason why that's gone into a number 1 spot and gen pressure has gone into a 2 spot, because sometimes you can put a little bit too much effort into creating pressure on the gens, and it's not always going to work against a well organised team. If you've got a team and it's a Swift and they know where that free gen is, and they've got 2 people on one and 2 people on the other gen, there's not much you can do. You chase them off, somebody else is going to go back, it's eventually going to get done. So why have I switched, and why have I switched my perks up? Now let me get into the perks. Save the best for last. Rancor, No Way Out, and Deadlock. And this build really is for mid game to end game. And how you want to create your pressure is get your save the best for last stacks up as much as possible. Bad advice to say don't get it in your obsession. Sometimes you've got to, but try and at least save 4 stacks to save the best for last. And remember, this is going to take game knowledge. So if you've not played Dead by Daylight much, just play it, get a feel for it. This is about game knowledge. When you've created dead zones, alright, you want to create a good dead zone by the time there's at least 2 gens left. If there's 3 gens left, that's fantastic, but try and do it then. So you hit the Survivor, you get a stack of save the best for last. Survivors are going to panic and they're going to drop pallets because they don't want to get down. So obviously you need to hit them, so they'll drop the pallet. You create dead zones in that area. Now if you hit them and they drop the pallet and you break it, and you can tell that they're going to a loop where it's favourable for you, chase them, down them, get your No Way Out stacks. If not, leave them, go back to the gen where you know the other survivors are going to be, and just continue getting your save for best for last stacks. It's going to come in handy later on in the game. So, and what I found, creating dead zones, playing this way, it creates pressure on the survivors late game. 2 gens left, you got them hooked in a dead zone. Survivors have got to then come to that hook state. Now you don't stay, you don't completely camp, but you sort of lurk in that same area, you know, and eventually somebody's going to come, you hit them, you down them, you leave them on the floor, you go back after that person, you'll come out the game. Trying at least always have 2 stacks of No Way Out at the very least, and I'd also, as people say, call it ping pong, try and, you know, target between 2 people. So for example, if I up number 1 first and then I up number 4, I'm just going to concentrate between them 2 and then maybe slug the one on the floor while just going after the other 2. You're going to win every game? No, but this is a new strategy, why can't I say it properly, damn it, either way, you know what I mean. And it works. And try it, let me know what you think. And like I say, I've not changed my gameplay too much, but that little tweak of worrying more about creating dead zones than putting pressure on the gens just a little less, you'll see it later on in the game that it's a lot more helpful than you realise. So try it out, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the morgue.